I'm just afraid of being attacked. Happens to the best of us. Don't ever forget what happened to that French actor. You know what I'm talking about? Juicy Smouillet. He's a very famous French actor. Y'all never heard of Juicy Smouillet?
Welcome to the Binge List. I'm your host, Paul Chappell. Today, I am taking you on a journey to Dave Chappelle's latest special on Netflix because I have nothing else to talk about this week. There's no big movies coming out this week. Okay, there's a big movie coming out this week. It, Chapter 2. Let me just reiterate, as I probably said in the past, I do not like horror movies. I don't like the genre. Occasionally I watch a horror movie. You probably know I did a horror movie, I think. What was that movie? Us. It did not get a lot of views. I just don't think it has ever fit this channel. So I'm skipping that one. And of course, I haven't seen the first one. So that kind of negates the whole review thing. And also, I'm not a huge fan of not Steven Spielberg. Oh my God. I'm not a huge fan of Stephen King. I've read one of his books, The Shining, and of course you know how that turned out with the movie version that he did not like. So I don't know. I've kind of questioned Stephen King's intelligence ever since that. But anyway, doesn't matter. Didn't have anything to review this week, so I thought I would review something that came out it was probably like 2 weeks ago or something. August 26th, I believe, is the day this comedy special from Dave Chappelle came out. Now, the first thing that made this comedy special very interesting was the rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, as you probably have already heard, when the rating first came online, it was 0%, and there was only a critical rating. Now it's up to 23%, but look closer and you'll see the total count of critics that have chimed in on this special is 13. Really? 13. Now, usually I'm on the side of Rotten Tomatoes. They were right about the whole trolling of Captain Marvel. And they actually changed the way they allow people to do reviews. You actually have to see the movie before you review a movie on their site, which I think was a great idea. Why wasn't a thing before? I don't know. But hey, they changed it, made it all better. But you see right here, you see the audience score. The audience members obviously don't agree with the critics. And when it was at this 0% rating, they had only allowed like 5 very progressive critics to review his comedy special. And I think they were hoping that nobody was going to go watch his comedy special. They were just going to completely ignore it, and they were just going to forget about Dave Chappelle. They were going to cancel this man. The problem is you can't cancel Dave Chappelle. Okay? Let's just look, just for the basis of being fair and balanced, let's look at the Dark Phoenix and see how many critics were allowed to review Dark Phoenix. They had the same score as Dave Chappelle, but look at the count here. 347 critics versus, what was it again, 13? Wow. Anyway, moving on. I saw this article on The Root. Now, usually The Root is a very great website to go if you want to read about police brutality of black people or white people harassing black people for doing things like barbecuing in a public park or sitting in Starbucks or sitting in your car or just about anything normal people do. This is a great site to go to. Usually I agree with everything they say. They've got a tone to all their articles that is just kind of sarcastic that I like. But with this, they are just wrong. I mean, just look at this title. All the worst white people love Dave Chappelle Sticks and Stones. They're going to be really disappointed when they go on YouTube and they see all the black people that love this special. Because there's a lot of black people who have reviewed it and giving it a glowing review. But this guy, for whatever reason, his name is Damon Young, he did not like the special. So let's read why he didn't like it. I'll skip the first paragraph, not really saying much. I'll start with the second paragraph right here. Perhaps there's a specific name for that trope, but it's been on my mind this week as I've read the reactions to Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones, a special I finally got around to watching last night. Now, okay, he finally got around to watching this special. Now, this special came out August 26th. He's reviewing it August 30th, and he said he got around to watching it last night. Now, that would have been August 29th. So, dude, you waited 3 days to watch it. You didn't finally get around to watching it. You pretty much watched it the weekend it came out, which is something I didn't even do. So right there, he loses a little bit of credibility. Okay, let's continue though. After the first few minutes, I saw why it's become like Funny Games and Dana Schultz Open Casting, one of those creative works with a reaction to and conversation about it cannibalizes the actual content. Now, what the heck does that mean? The reaction to is happiness from what I've seen. Like I said, 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience review or reaction. The reaction to is laughter. The conversation about it, from what I've seen, has only been happening from very, very progressive people who are just traumatized if you say the word transgender. Okay, but let's read. Let's give him a chance here. His primary objective seems to be provocation, not making a thing that lasts. Now, what does that mean? Making a thing that lasts? I think Chris Rock said that comedy has a terrible shelf life, because whenever you make jokes about stuff, you're making jokes about stuff happening right now. I mean, I'm sure if you go back 20 years, you got comedians making jokes about microwaves because it was the new hot thing. Or 30 years, probably more like 30 years. Or Atari or something. I mean, the stuff, comedy is not, there's no timeless comedy. I mean, there's some bits that may be timeless. There's some things that Bill Cosby's done that I think are timeless. But oh my God, here we go with Bill Cosby. Let me just leave that there. Let's continue to see what he's talking about. Okay, so his primary objective seems to be provocation, not making a thing that lasts or something we want to come back to and rewatch. Like the best stand-up acts compel us to do, but proving he can say what he wants and convince us to laugh at it too. And there's definitely a specific name for this trope: trolling. Okay. While trolling has earned its negative connotation, it can be weaponized for good, as Bromani Jones proves on Twitter pretty much every day. I don't go on Twitter, so I have no idea who that is. You control racists and low information bigots, exposing them and the baddie and dangerous thought processes that define them. Okay, you see what he just did? He's telling Dave Chappelle who it's okay to make fun of. Just for a little bit of clarification, Dave Chappelle makes fun of everybody. I think I can say confidently that he has made fun of everybody, because I think I've seen every comedy special he's ever done. Now, he's made fun of crack addicts, Native Americans, women. I mean, he had a guy on his show named Tyrone Biggums, which is probably the most racist black name. It sounds like a name somebody in the Ku Klux Klan came up with. Tyrone Biggums, for God's sake. He had a character that ran around. He was a crack addict. And if you've seen this Chappelle show, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? I don't remember people on the left being outraged by that character. and it was offensive to crack addicts. And you hear a lot of people on the left talking about you should never punch down in comedy. Oh no, never punch down in comedy. You can't get any lower than a crack addict, okay? Punching down on a crack addict is the ultimate punch down. You'll never hear these people on the left saying not to punch down a crack addict, okay? And like I said, he's made fun of Native Americans. He had Native Americans set on him weed in one of his comedy specials. I think he was trying to do a little spin on the fact that, you know, Native American peoples are given a lot of reverence. And I think he was just trying to put a little pin in that balloon. And of course, every comedian makes fun of women, so that's not a here nor there. But my point here is that this is where this writer is going with this. Okay, let's continue. But Sticks and Stones is mostly an hour of Chappelle trolling trans people, rape victims, gay people, and other hyper-vulnerable communities while defending famous millionaires. And now I don't know what famous millionaires he was defending, except for maybe Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson has been dead for 10 years. So you might want to question why somebody would want to bring a rape allegation against Michael Jackson when he's been dead for 10 years. The only thing I'll say about that, he did make some offensive jokes. I mean, he joked about raping Macaulay Culkin. Did I laugh? Not really, but part of the reason I wasn't super offended by that particular sketch is that, yes, before you grab your pearls, let me explain. Yes, I'm one of those few people who don't believe the new Michael Jackson accusers. And I'll tell you why. Now, there's a great documentary on YouTube that's been floating around about the actual accuser and some of the inconsistencies of their stories. I won't even go into that. I will just give you two indisputable facts about his accusers. The first fact is both of his accusers have testified under oath. I think it was in Michael Jackson's second trial. Both of them under oath said that Michael Jackson never touched them in any way sexual, never abused them. They are both on record under oath saying that. So either they were lying then or they're lying now. Either way you look at it, they were lying. They can't be telling the truth both instances. That's impossible. Okay, that's the first thing. That's an indisputable fact about his new accusers. The second one, probably the more important one, is that both of these guys have motive to say these things about Michael Jackson because they are currently still trying to sue. Because I say still trying to sue because I think their lawsuits against his estate were overturned a couple times already, but they've been trying to sue his estate for money because I think these guys were expecting Michael Jackson to actually leave them some money when he died, and I don't think he did. So when you throw in the fact that these guys have admitted to lying about, or the fact that they have to be lying because two things cannot be true. Either you were molested or you were not. If you're testifying that you were not molested, and then later you change your story, you are lying one way or the other. That's what I'm saying. And like I said, they have a financial motive here. The man has been dead 10 years. Now, they will bring some evidence, like, say, the way they got Bill Clinton. They got Bill Clinton because he deposited some semen on a dress. If they could come back with some of their clothing from childhood and say, look, test this, Michael Jackson's semen is on this, that would be a little bit more persuasive than just some words. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I wasn't particularly offended when he said he didn't believe those victims because I don't believe them either. But let's go on. So Chappelle trolling trans victims, rape victims, gay people, and other vulnerable communities while defending famous billionaires. Okay. And something happened while I was watching it that has never happened to me while watching Dave Chappelle. I got up and did things around the house while it was still on. Come on, dude. You did not do that. If you're writing this article and saying all these things, you shouldn't be writing an article. It's the first rule of reviewing something. You can't review something unless you watch the whole thing. Okay? I don't get up in the middle of a movie and leave and then come home to do a review about it and tell you, give a recommendation on it. That wouldn't be honest. So this guy is basically saying he's not being honest here. I got up and did things around the house while it was still on. Not because of some deep offense, but because I was just bored with it. Okay, he's basically making an argument, hey, don't watch this. And this is a stupid argument to make because obviously this guy haven't heard of something called the Streisand effect. The more you tell people not to watch something, the more likely they are going to watch it. Defending the words and rights of powerful people is perhaps the most mundane and least transgressive thing an artist can do. And last night was trash pickup night, so I multitasked so I could get to bed at a decent hour. Okay, whatever. That said, there are also many who consider this to be one of his best performances, and among that group are trolls, professional bigots, white supremacists, Nazi sympathizers, and more of the very worst white people, and an adoration due to the parallels between their sensibilities and his. Okay, now that is true. You see, I'll go to the Bart article. You see the right trying to weaponize him, as there are wont to do. And he's right. He's right. They are trying to weaponize Dave Chappelle, and I don't really feel like Dave Chappelle is on their side because, like I've already pointed out, Dave Chappelle makes fun of everyone. So let me read a little bit of this article. Now, before let me go ahead and read it before I make any specific points about the right wing. Because this is my point here. I'm not on the left side and I'm not on the right side as far when it comes to criticizing comedy. I don't think comedy should be rise above that. But let's see what this guy says. Comedian Dave Chappelle's latest Netflix special, Sticks and Stones, is one of the greatest hours of comedy I have ever seen, which is saying a lot. As much as I enjoyed his legendary sketch show from 15 years ago, which I only recently caught up with, I had not been all that impressed with his Netflix specials. This is one of those situations, guys, where one man's villain is another man's hero. I'm curious why he didn't like Dave Chappelle's other Netflix specials. It seems like these people who are both political, they can only like somebody if they're making fun of somebody that they don't like. You see what I'm saying? Granted, coming up with an hour of solid stand-up material is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world of show business. And very few can pull it off on a regular basis. Bill Cosby and George Carlin were the Ted Williams of this feat, the closest to enjoying a perfect record. Even the mighty Richard Pryor has his Here and Now. Chappelle's done it. Sticks and Stones is a rarity, a perfect piece of art. I mean, come on. It was good. It was not perfect. Killing Them Softly was perfect, but let's not get into that. Nothing could be improved upon. Nothing needed to be touched up. Every brush stroke is exactly where it should be. Now, this guy is totally on the opposite of that article we just read. Wow. That is some serious praise. Now, let's see why he likes it. And what makes a stand-up routine perfect is something that goes beyond the funny. There are probably at least 12 cylinders that must fire. Solid jokes, time and tone, knowing your audience, dealing with hecklers, insight, truth. But the most important one is having a theme, an overarching idea that sends the audience home thinking about something more than a punchline. So this guy, like I said, he's saying the exact opposite. The other guy saying he was cannibalizing his own comedy or something. This guy says he's sending his audience home thinking about something. So, see where this goes. Throughout the hour, Chappelle does dozens of bits, but if you're paying attention, all of them are woven together by one common idea, and that is Chappelle's demand for his right to enjoy free and unfettered artistic expression. Okay. Dave Chappelle wants to talk about what he wants to talk about, which is a God-given right. Oh boy, we're mentioning God here. By a right-winger. You know, this is not going to end well. That has been slowly melting away starting in the late 80s with the Puritan jihads against Sam Kinison and Andrew Dice Clay. Now, this is something that I was going to point out very early, and I forgot to mention. Before right-wingers get all uppity and happy that liberals are being triggered or whatever, we have to remember the history of cancel culture. The cancel culture started on the right. When I was growing up, it was Two Live Crew, the American Family Association trying to make Two Live Crew's music obscene so they could ban it from music stores, which they actually did in Florida. Okay? Sam Kinison making Jesus jokes triggered the right wing enormously. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. Go look up Sam Kinison and Jesus jokes. I'm sure you'll find it. The Dixie Chicks. Now remember, the right got triggered by the Dixie Chicks for saying they were ashamed of George W. Bush coming from Texas. That's it. They wasn't punching down. They wasn't punching down on rednecks or anything. They simply said something about a U.S. president. They were punching up now, remember. And remember, it was the right that were offended by that. The right, let's just say it, they're offended by people kneeling below the flag. Now, in Middle Ages, kneeling was considered respectful to a king or queen. So what's exactly their problem with somebody kneeling? I mean, I was kneeling when I proposed to my wife. Was that a bad thing? Like I said, I don't want to get too political here, but you see what I'm saying. So this guy admits that, yes, in the late 80s, there were Puritan jihads against Sam Kinison and Andrew Dice Clay and many other people. But as of late, in this new blacklisting era of ours, that right is almost exclusively gone, entirely gone, and Chappelle is done sitting in the back of the satire bus. Sometimes he comes right out and says this, the subtext becomes text, and that's fine. But even when he's not saying it, he's still saying it. When Chappelle jokes about how great it would be to be molested by Michael Jackson, he's not arguing that it would be great to be molested by Michael Jackson. What he's saying is, F you, I'm going to joke about the most forbidden thing to joke about because F you and F you, this is America, I'm an American, and then I mentioned F you. Now, I'm not going to read much more of this. Let's see what he's saying. He liked it, and I'm sure the reason he liked it is because Michael Jackson is punching down on gay people, which he says later in this article. But he brings up the LGBT, the alphabet joke is being called. My point here is this guy, I'm very sure, would be singing a different tune. Bart on the Hoe was singing a different tune. a tune if he was making fun of Christian conservatives. Both sides are wrong here. In comedy, you should be able to make fun of anybody, up or down, left or right. And like as I've brought out, Dave Chappelle's made fun of crack addicts, Native Americans, women. He's also made fun of the police, white people, and George W. Bush. He had that very funny sketch called Black Bush on the Chappelle Show. Because I think this guy, I read this article, of course, before I started recording. He said something about Dave Chappelle not making fun of Trump like most people, but Dave Chappelle does not like Trump. He has made some jokes about Trump. So the point here is, both sides are wrong. Look, it's comedy. You can joke about anything you want as long as it's not coming from a feeling of hate, is the way I understand it. Part of the problem with this, though, is people are so ready to weaponize Dave Chappelle against each other that they've missed the biggest controversy of this special, and the fact that Dave Chappelle actually stole a joke from another comedian. And when I say that, I'm talking about Owen Benjamin. And if you've seen the special, just watch this. I'm going to just play a little bit of it. I don't want to get a copyright strike. But either Dave stole this joke directly from Owen Benjamin, who's kind of a crazy guy, I'm going to admit. He's a right-wing comedian. He doesn't like, as the way I understand it, I don't think he likes gay people. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry, Owen Benjamin. But from what I've watched of his YouTube channel, I think that's true for the most part. At least I don't think he believes in a homosexual agenda or whatever. But he told this, you'll see a lot of similarities in that alphabet joke. I think after watching this, you will see that definitely something is going on with Dave Chappelle stealing his jokes. I'll go just shut up and go ahead and play it.
This is who I feel bad for, because you got the LBGT, right? Yeah. There's more every day, I know. But I'll tell you when it happened. It all started with the L's. And the L's are great. No one has a problem with the L's. So the L's were like, L's, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, L's, great. You guys are really cool, you're great dinner guests. You know? Because they love knick-knacking. Like, they always have interesting magnets. You know, it's like a Sylvia Plath poem on a mug. Like, they're good people. And then the G's came in. And the G's are cool, but they're male, so they're a little more aggressive, but they're a blast, you know? They're like, hey, we're the G's. And the L's are like, hey, G's. What are you guys up to? They're like, you know, we're facing some discrimination. Why don't we team up? You guys have the Subarus, we got like raves. And we're pretty ripped, and we're fun, we're hilarious. So let's do that. You know, we're a little unpredictable. We might have a coke problem, but let's all team up. And the L's are like, great. And at this point, everything's going great. And then the B's came in. The B's threw people for a loop, because you never really know if you can go camping with them, but they're cool. Like, you know, they're like, we'll bang anybody. They're like, anybody? They're like, anybody. And at that point, everything's going good, and then everything changed with the T's.
So I'm not going to play more. You see what I'm talking about. This is the controversy nobody is covering, the real controversy behind this special. But I think I've ran it a little bit too long. I was hoping this was going to be a 10-minute little video, and it's almost turned into a special on its own. I'm about to cross 30-minute mark. So let me conclude there. Thank you for watching today. I'd like to thank my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead, hit that subscribe, give me a like. Tell me what you think, please. Particularly about this. Am I right? Am I off base? Did I offend anybody? I'm sorry if I offended you. Please stay. Please stay. I didn't mean to offend anybody. I want right And I want people on the left and people on the right. Everybody's welcome here, except racists, for obvious reasons. But that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you when I see you.